All right. I think we're streaming now. Anyway, carrying this back in again, we are diving even deeper than past live streams on this channel. We are going to do the cargo rooms and the boiler rooms, and we'll possibly hit the post office again. These are very important rooms in Titanic because Titanic, it held a lot more cargo than you all probably think that she even held. It's crazy how much cargo Titanic actually held. And her mail, there's a reason why she was named the Royal Mail Ship, because or had that abbreviation in front of Titanic. I mean, I guess you can call it SS for steamship, but Titanic, it had a lot of mail with it as well. But anyway, we will go back to the post office and baggage. We're mainly, again, focusing towards more of the cargo rooms in this space because the cargo rooms are very important in Titanic, and they hold a lot of important roles for Titanic in its sinking and just in general. Alright, welcome Copper to the stream. You want to see the vintage auto that you make out of Lego? I'm excited for that one actually, because Titanic had a car and it went down with it, but that car, it'd be interesting to see if, like what that car would look like today if they brought it up, which will never happen, but it'd be kind of really cool to see what the car would look like. Behind me, actually, I have Titanic starting, wherever I can get my hand. I am starting a very large Lego Titanic project, and it is starting, and I'm excited to show you guys that. Down in these cargo rooms, because I believe this would be, it'd be G deck or H deck, if I really want to go that far down. But yeah, this is pretty far down. This is not the lowest room by far for Titanic. Titanic also had a much larger cargo space than this one that you see right here. But my goal for this and the entire game that they have built, it's more of a history kind of lesson thing at the same time, over a game, in my opinion. Right here is just so much detail and so much thought, and every single thing that they have put into this game. I will say game, but it's more of a history kind of representative. I really want to say it that way. So you are making a minifig scale Titanic. Yes, I am there, Delton. I do again have Titanic starting over there. I hit it, so you guys can't really see it because that would ruin the video that's coming out relatively soon. I don't want to say when I have the video, otherwise people get mad. Are we serious? My streaming does not like me. Now we're streaming over the amount that we're supposed to. Anyway. Yeah, so we're just going to kind of keep going through these cargo room spaces. Kind of just take a chill down memory lane. And kind of just learn from Titanic, because Titanic has got so much history in it, and it's important. Anyways, not trying to be quiet. Definitely have a load of things planned, if my chair can cooperate with me. Alright, so the cargo rooms weren't lit. They weren't super bright down there, only because they were used for cargo. It's not a room that was really used in Titanic during the voyage. It was more of, okay, let's load the entire ship full of cargo and then set sail. Again, Titanic could hold so much cargo, it was ridiculous. They even had dedicated rooms that were just massive for Titanic's cargo area. But I think what strikes me the most is the fact that these rooms weren't super tall, as you can see already here. They were more super long and wide that would cover for the entire Titanic's room height. Because beyond this point, the rooms do get bigger. Another thing that you also have to understand with Titanic that plays a vital role throughout here, the entire ship, is beyond. So if you go this straight forward this way, not through the ladder, but this way, you're going to get to the end of the bow. So, or the start of the bow, I should say. And you can't go any farther than that unless you want to go take a swim. Now, if you continue going down this way, you're going to eventually hit the stern. But beyond this point would be the boiler rooms as well. Not right behind this room, but you would hit the boiler rooms. And that's why this room is so low, because the boiler rooms were like 2 stories tall. They were a little bit taller than normal. Some of them even reached 3 because that was where the engine rooms and stuff went. The engine room really was the only spot that hit 3 stories tall. But the bow itself, the way it was made is it was structured in different rooms and stuff. And so this would be one of the lower rooms, like one of the shorter height limit. But it's still packed with a lot of details and information that people still use to kind of play out the role for Titanic as it sank. Because even the cargo room, as small as it is and as not as exciting as it is compared to other rooms, it still played a vital role in Titanic sinking, because these were the early stages of when Titanic was sinking. These are the simple first rooms that would start sinking. And I also want to say that beyond this point, there is no portholes. So windows and anything like that wouldn't be below this. This is because we're starting to get to that point where Titanic is now going under the water. Titanic is now hitting that point where we're not above water really anymore. We're starting to get to the point where we're below water. I don't think at this point we are, but I think once you go down one more of Titanic, you are going to go underwater, if I want to say it that way. Not physically, because the ship is spread out from that, but you would be. As for other things, I also want to state Titanic, the entire beams were huge. I mean, very massive. They were thick, heavy steel beams that would run not only just through the entire Titanic, but they would also be supports that would be thick and heavy as well, that would be used for the entire Titanic to lift Titanic's decks to the height that they need to be at. That's an important thing you guys got to know about that, is Titanic was not a light ship. It was the heaviest ship of her day. That's why she was known as the biggest ship. She was, I believe, 500 tons heavier than Olympic. So, or just around that. I know it's around that. You guys probably, I don't want to say it's wrong or right, but I would say it's roughly around that point for Titanic. It doesn't matter. Titanic was still the largest, most luxurious, and heaviest ship of her day. 2 years later, Titanic she already was sunk, but Olympic would take back her role as being the largest ship of her day once Titanic sunk, but she would only hold it for 2 more years longer, of course, because back then, instead of building the tallest skyscraper, it was build the longest ship and hold the record, or have the fastest ship. That was the 2 things. People didn't really care about how the ship looked. They only cared about the comfortability on the ship and the speed of the ship, how fast it's going to take from getting to this city to this city. They didn't really care about anything other than that. Of course, Titanic's passengers cared about a lot, because this is the most luxurious ship that they're sailing on. This is a dream. It's bigger. It's better than Olympic. I would almost go to that point, because Titanic and Olympic look the same, but they aren't the same. there is a couple of differences with Titanic that you would notice that are different than Olympic. They're not the same ships, by no means. Anyway, yeah, you guys all probably see all these cargo boxes and bins and containers and trunks and all of that. This, in my opinion, is not what I really like to call Titanic's cargo spaces. I would say down in this point, probably this is what there was. But once you get farther down, it's going to be more crates that are just full of stuff. And I would even go farther to say, like, I mean, you have the car down there, you have the crates, and you just have a bunch of other miscellaneous things that made Titanic Titanic. I'm not quite sure what's beyond this door here. I think this is more crew-only spaces, and this might... No, I'm not really sure what's beyond that door, actually. That's got me stumped. I'd have to go over Titanic's blueprints, which we can go out through a different day. Again, we're going through rooms that we've already done in the past, but we're also going through rooms in much greater detail. I don't like repeating streams, but I also felt like last stream we didn't go into the process of showing Titanic's beautiful glory, the details that should be shown. Plain and simple, Titanic was more than just a ship. It was the best ship of the day. And the engines were absolutely massive. Yes, the engines were 3 stories tall. Guys, 3 stories tall. Go to a building in your town and look 3 stories in the air, and then you can see how large Titanic's engines were. They were massive. They weren't just something that's small. Titanic could hold over... It was like 2,000... I almost want to say it could hold almost 3,000 passengers if you have everything to its maximum capacity. That's bigger than a lot of towns. 3,000 people is a lot. Welcome, Mike and Ike. Glad to see you here tonight. Always great to have other YouTubers as well. If you don't know Mike and Ike, he's another LEGO YouTuber that does a lot of unique and crazy things that the LEGO community needs. He's also different compared to everyone else. Again, this is baggage, and I also want you guys to know that, again, when Titanic was sinking, this was a very interesting spot to be on Titanic's crew, because Titanic's crew very much struggled through the entire first part of the sinking, because everyone's like, Titanic's not going to sink. Oh, we're good. Titanic will last. We will be fine. Titanic was not fine. By no means. And the thing is none of the actual, like, I want to say Titanic's, like, officers and stuff, they weren't confident in Titanic at that point. They weren't. They knew Titanic's damage. They knew Titanic's issues that were going on in the ship. They knew what was happening. It wasn't we just got a report that Titanic has hit an iceberg and we felt the entire collision. No, guys, they were terrified because they knew Titanic's ship, the ship itself, was not in a good spot. Even if Titanic did float, the entire rest of the voyage would have been very scary, because all they had to do was hit one more thing, Titanic would sink. All they had to do was open a watertight door on accident, and all that water just comes flying into the next compartment and starts sinking her again. It was a very scary situation that Titanic was in. Again, I keep mentioning this, but Titanic was not in a good situation at that time, and when the post office itself was sinking, you could feel it. The crew members could feel it. during this part. I don't think there was a lot of crew members working because it was late at night. Not a lot of people work at night, other than like the bridge and the engine workers and the boiler people. But apart from that, everything else was pretty much set up for breakfast the next morning. So people were falling asleep at this point. There's no sense in doing really any mail things at that point. It's pretty inactive. Everyone's sleeping or preparing to sleep. Any plans to motorize it? That'd be cool. Okay, actually, you brought a good question up. Motorizing this Titanic would be almost, I don't want to say impossible, but it's going to be downright close to impossible. With how big Titanic, or the Titanic I'm building, it's going to be big, guys. And I mean, it's going to be big, but I don't know. It would be very hard to do that. And I don't know if I can do it just with how Titanic is laid out. Maybe I might be able to. Maybe I might not. But I don't think I will be able to. I'll be able to light Titanic up, but I might motorize it. I'm going to have to figure a way how to like hide all that motorizing stuff from Lego. That's the hard part. And so I'd have to make a secret room in Titanic that wasn't really designed into Titanic. And I'm kind of fine with that. I'm really scared about kind of ruining Titanic's plans and exactly how this Titanic that I'm building behind me would kind of work into that situation. I don't know. It'd be something that I have to think about later on in the future when I get to that point. You can imagine seeing an 18-foot-long Titanic cruising across the lake. I mean, I could technically waterproof this to make that happen, but do I want to risk having to have all my Lego wet at that point and drying it out? Not really. Absolutely would just sit on there and watch. And by the way, Owner Designs, I just watched a documentary that said Titanic reported its last position 13 miles long. Not to necessarily move, but the pistons move up and down and propellers to move. Yep, that's what I thought you were talking about. And I would probably do that. Like I said, I gotta work out how I'm gonna do that. It's gonna have to be built in its own room itself. That would have to be under the engine room because that's the only way I can do it. Yeah. Only way I can think of it. And yeah, copper, I also want to address that. I know they did say Titanic was 13 miles reported of her last location, but it honestly didn't matter. Even at that night, it was super calm and the seas were, it was dark because there was no moon. But even with the seas the way they were, you would be able to, if Titanic was still floating, see Titanic's lights. As long as she still had electricity. That was the hope. If she didn't have electricity, then we'd be in a trouble situation. But, yeah. So, 13 miles of its last location really didn't matter for Titanic because a ship just had to see Titanic, which its lights would be enough to do that. Zoner would have to invest in 212 M1 Lego motors, which would make a move. Well, the Lego motors they're expensive though. That's the issue. That's another thing I face. And that's my hard part on this. Yeah, they're not cheap, by no means. Yeah, and I also want to state these rooms weren't even completely lit. As you can see right here, this is like, if anyone's been in an actual barn, this is like taking one of those like barn lights, those big, heavy, they're not really heavy, but they're very bright and they're very hot. This is like taking one of those heavy lights, plugging it in, like going all the way down here, and then plug it into the wall, and then just coming, oops, can't say it. Wait, no. Okay, now I can. And then coming all the way back here and plugging it in. Legit. That is what this light looks like. It's hot. It is heavy. And you guys gotta also say this. These aren't LED lights. These lights did not last as long as today's lights either. They were lit pretty much the entire time that Titanic was floating. Yeah, they really didn't get a break. And when light bulbs don't get a break, they get really hot. And they tend to burn out a lot faster than normal lights when they're turned off. Because, again, the post office would be used all the time. It wasn't a room in Titanic that, well, we don't currently think that this room will be used. We'll turn the lights off. No, this room was constantly used. There was normally someone in here pretty much the entire time, roughly. And guys, check this out. This is actually kind of cool. This is something, if I did motorize something, it'd be the elevator shafts as well. In this case, this is where you would just load this thing up with mail and it would go upstairs. Because mail bags were heavy when you have 1,000 to 2,000 letters in one of these packages or in one of these bags. They were not light. But yeah, this is a beautiful machine. It involved a lot of heavy and fun stuff. Basically, the electricity and all that motor stuff would be kind of in here, and it would run out into that. Quick other little topic thing, not really kind of focused on the actual motor part that's right in this box here, but outside of that, these were not, and I will say this right now, when water touched these, it was not a wonderful scene. Water and these motors did not work at all together, like completely. This was more of a danger zone. Don't be in this area and don't operate the elevator once water hit this, because once water hit this, you might as well just say Titanic's, this would have to be a full-blown repair. Yeah, water and electricity don't mix, as we already know, but water and Titanic's motors definitely did not mix. They were not a wonderful design. When it came to that, it's just because they're not as advanced like we have ours today, but they're more heavier and they're thicker, and they have a bunch more holes which allow more water to get into them. And yeah, and in the first place, they're not even designed for water anyway. This room is not even designed for water. Zoner, would you have to invest? Oh wait, no, I already read that one. You're decaling, restocking the website. Oh. Yep. Yeah, so, again, interesting spot on that part. I'm not really kind of certain exactly what these were behind here. Maybe to hang like mail bags and like tack things to this. Apart from that, I'm really not certain what the deal with running these across like that were exactly for. I mean, actually, I guess they could be used as clipping the actual bags and stuff, as you kind of can see right here. But I don't want to 100% say that that's the reasoning for that, because I'd probably be wrong in that case. But I think that might be what it's for. I could be wrong. If anyone knows in the chat, they can definitely tell me that, because that one really got me thumped on that. I'm very excited to say, though, I will be getting blueprints for Titanic that will help me build this Titanic back here. And they even allowed me to show you guys a little bit of the blueprints at a time. I'm not going to show the entire blueprints because that would be a great way for me to get in trouble. But I will show you a little bit, and I will be showing you guys basically the rooms as I'm building that, kind of. Yeah, so they did give me permission to do that. I was super excited when they said that. Yeah, that's another cool addition, and that will help me kind of build Titanic out. I will be using the blueprints themselves and what we see in front of me, which is the screen, and this would be the colors that I'd be using and all that. Obviously, Titanic's exterior would be red, black, white, and kind of like a golden color, but I would have to kind of split that in two. So I'd have to do 2 layers. It would have the red layer in the front, or in the exterior, and then in the interior you would have the white color that you see kind of right here with beams and stuff kind of running down Titanic. Interesting kind of perspective that I have for that. Now my chat's kind of went off here again. There. But yeah, that's basically what that'd be for. I really don't think I need to go any more details into that. It's Titanic's post office. It's the mail room. It's the room that everyone knows about sarcastically. It's one of those rooms that Titanic does not get a lot. What's the word for it? A lot of just kind of like passion for. It's an underrated Titanic room. There. Sorry, I thought I glitched it out on that. Anyway, I'm not really going to go too much into this room here. You guys got to remember, I am more focused on Titanic's lower and deeper into Titanic's rooms. That was more considered as a lower, deeper room. This is the upstairs of the post office, if I want to say that. This would be where most of it would get like put into like actual envelopes or bags and stuff, and then they would just haul it down the elevator. But in the sinking case, it was the exact opposite. Everyone was trying to get the actual bags out of the actual room down here and in to this room up here, not realizing that this room itself would flood as well in the matter of like 15 more minutes. This room would be in the same boat that room down there was in 15 minutes earlier. So yeah, definitely not in the best perspective there. Yeah, and you guys got to understand that when they were running down these stairs, they were grabbing bags, and then they were running back up these stairs and then getting them out of the water. This water was also cold water. This was not hot water. So yeah, you could imagine how horrible that job would be, having to run down there, throw some mail bags up here, and then run back down. And then, on top of that, each time you run down the stairs, it just gets deeper. The water gets deeper, you get more wet, your body starts to get cold. You know how your body starts getting cold, you become slower, and you also become heavier because water and clothes make heavier clothes, of course, because it's not dry anymore. So you're having to face heavy water on yourself, which gets really heavy after it's wet. You're having to face cold water. It gets deeper every single time, and I'm sure every single one of us, when we were younger or even older, have tried running into a lake or a pool and seeing how hard it is once you get into the water, how hard it is to start running farther and deeper in. It's not delightful. Well, that was what these guys were pretty much facing that entire night. Not the entire night, but the night Titanic was sinking for that moment. Yeah. And again, we've already visited this area, so we will go up here, kind of around here. Again, there's nothing over in this area. I didn't really want to focus on that area, even if we had that room. Why not just go through the entire Titanic to get to the boiler rooms? Pretend that we're crew members here, guys. We are on a cruise. Well, not really. We are on an ocean liner that's going through the ocean, and we're a crew member. We get special perks for running through the entire ship as we're working really hard. Sarcastically. TK Troopers. Sweet. Yeah, I love this room. If you guys haven't heard, this is my favorite room in Titanic. It's the reception room. D-Deck. D-Deck is in my vast opinion, the most luxurious ship on Titanic. My favorite room on Titanic, because it's just so... It's not like today. When you think of a room, you don't think of this as your room. By far. It is not the first thing you think of as you walk into a restaurant or a room. This is a very, very fancy. Other than that, does anyone have any questions, by the way? Because I will visit the things that if they have any questions or want to see or anything like that, because that's what I'm here for. I'm just trying to learn and experience this all with you guys as I glitch out and all that. But yeah, I'm excited for this part, though. Ooh, okay, there we go. Obviously, if we continue going down here, we would run into... Okay, let me rephrase that. This is my second favorite or first favorite. I don't know. It was pretty much a tie. I love the racket with the squash room. Forget about that room, though. We're going up. And we're not high enough here. Should be able to go up higher here. Let's go this way. I'm pretty much running through this. And I could have actually went down the other deck, which probably would have made a little more sense. But I don't really want to. It didn't really make a lot of sense. By the way, not gonna lie, guys. Look at Titanic sinks. These are kind of fancy for Titanic's day. Anyone else agreeing on that one? These are pretty nice faucets or areas in Titanic. People have to share their bathrooms and all that, but not gonna lie, this sink almost looks like the sinks we have today. Alright. So, actually, quick thing. Once you make it out of the E-deck, you're going to be greeted with this long hallway, which became Titanic's the biggest disaster for Titanic during its sinking. Once water got to this point, Titanic was done. And I say that like it's funny or something. I don't. This is probably the worst area to be in, Titanic-wise, when she was sinking. Worst. Because, as you guys can see, there's nothing stopping it. No doors, nothing. And down here, though, the door, I believe. But up here, it was a free go for Titanic's water. This would be pretty much more cargo spots. Oh, and this is kind of having to do with what we're talking about right now, actually. From up here, this is where they would lower cargo all the way down. It's actually pretty neat to watch that. I don't think I can go much deeper. Yeah, they don't allow me to go any farther down here as much as I would love to. Yeah, that's as far as I can go pretty much that way. But we don't need to worry about that yet. Alright, let's go back up. Let's actually go to the boiler rooms themselves, because they are the most important rooms in Titanic. Oh, wait. No, wait. I can't even get down the doors. Alright, we'll go to 5. Who cares about 6? And also, it's kind of a cool thing. So Titanic wasn't like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for boiler rooms. Titanic's boiler rooms were different. They, from the front of the ship, it would be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the engine rooms themselves. And it's an interesting perspective in the way that they did it. To be honest, I frankly would do the exact opposite if I were designing a ship. I would not say 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my thing. Towards the end, there were a lot of swimming lap pools. Oh yeah, sure. If you really want to say it that way. All right, guys. We are entering the heaviest, some of the heaviest machinery on Titanic. If I want to put it that way. I mean heavy machinery. Along with that, we are also getting darker into Titanic. This wasn't really the brightest areas in Titanic. It was very hot down here. Sometimes it would get up to 120 degrees. It's the worst conditions pretty much on Titanic that you would not want to be in. This would also be the worst spot to be kind of in Titanic because, as you probably don't already know, hot water does not go with cold water. Or shall I say steam does not go with water. How do I really want to say that? Cold water, ice cold water, very cold water does not go well with Titanic's boiler rooms, which are very hot, and steam and fire and all that in itself. Cold hits hot metal, not a two good things you want to have. Just in general, when you're down in Titanic's boiler rooms, you don't want any other water outside of Titanic's actual boilers to be touched. Because inside Titanic's boiler rooms, it was 2/3 water. Because 2/3 of water had to make steam. That's how Titanic ran. Oh yeah, lap pools are good for cardio. Yeah, lap pools are probably really good for cardio until you realize that that becomes a very nice icy cold water bath. Yeah. By the way, you pretty much had to climb these stairs. It kind of made no sense. It didn't go down at the angle that we were coming down in. They pretty much went straight down once you got down to this point. And the lights on Titanic, again, not LED, so they're hot. Doesn't help in Titanic's case either because the more heat down here, the worse it is. Along with just large metal pipes. Could you guys imagine just walking down and then you just accidentally don't realize that there's a pipe here again and hit your head? That wouldn't feel good. I mean, for me it wouldn't. I would think that everyone else would agree with me on that, but some people disagree. You showed us it was possible to go to the very front of the ship. Could you go all the way to the bottom and touch the floor of the ship? Good way to wrap metal is heating it up and cooling it down. Very cool. Yeah. And you all probably already know, again, metal, hot water, and cold water don't mix, and metal especially does not mix real well with that. Alright. Now we're down to pretty much the lowest we can get in Titanic. The hottest, I would say roughly the hottest part, Titanic. Also, really want to state something quick. Copper, you did say a point there. The lowest point that you could get to the highest point you could get in Titanic. Or the very front of the ship, so I say that. Could you go all the way to the bottom and touch the floor of the ship? Okay, so here's what I want to say. I don't know if it allow me. No, okay, it doesn't really. Let me see, 1 second here. So this would be another boiler room, and I'm not too certain. It should allow me to, if I can. Oh wait. Okay, wait. Okay, it does. All right. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me get back to where I was actually at. If I can get through this section. Guys, I could not imagine walking through that in itself already. That'd be a nightmare. Oh, wait a second. Oh, I thought they actually let me walk through the entire Titanic. That'd be even cooler. I would not argue against that. Okay. So yeah, this would be kind of a ventilation steam thing that would kind of like lead things in and out of Titanic, which helped out a lot. and as you can see, there's the lever here. You would kind of just attach the lever. When I say that this is going to be the hardest room, or one of the hardest rooms to create, I really do mean that, because pieces that Lego create or makes are going to be very difficult to kind of incorporate with Titanic. I'm going to have to do a lot of special molding and a lot of special things in order to make this actually look decent, or kind of the same with Titanic. It's not a spot in Titanic that I'm really going to be proud of probably when I'm done, just because there's not a lot I can do with this spot. There really isn't. If there was a better way to make this spot in Titanic, you would probably know. But yeah, here is the entire plans for Titanic. But this would be Titanic's main feature, if I want to say. The very important Titanic feature that helped Titanic, well, that kind of was supposed to save Titanic, that didn't really kind of work. This is the watertight doors. I want to say this. Titanic had the watertight doors at the bridge. Each of the doors would shut when they pushed the button. All it had to do was push the button and all of them would shut. Not instantly. It would take roughly about 40 seconds from the time that they started closing to the time that they completely closed. But each of the rooms have their own little special, like, crew member sort of thing, where you would kind of just push some levers and the buttons and stuff, and it would pretty much open these doors. But there was also another way you could open the doors as well. You could hand do it, I believe, but that became a very big nuisance because these doors were very heavy, and so having to crank that over and over and over and over and over, etc. amount of times would just take forever. But sometimes that was the only time that you had to do it. And then there's other people that just crank it so fast that it's like nothing for them. But this becomes the main feature of Titanic, or the main safety feature of Titanic. These were supposed to protect Titanic from sinking. Did they do a good job? Yes, I will say that they did a good job, because if these were not included in Titanic, and Titanic, for one, either made them lower to where they didn't even go that high, or two, if Titanic made them any weaker or anything like that, it wouldn't be able to hold the water back as much. Especially when you have, let's say this entire boiler room right here was just full. Meanwhile, this room back here was empty still, had nothing in it. It's going to be really hard for Titanic to keep that water from bursting into the next room. So my main thing about that is the water had to go up, down, and it'd have to continue filling back up in order for it to go to the next one, which, again, you probably already know about that. But on top of that, though, that was a good thing for Titanic in a way, because I think Titanic survived an extra longer because the Titanic had these watertight doors, and water had to actually physically go up and over. If water did not go over it, it wouldn't be able to work that way. Like, it would survive. If they have the doors open, Titanic would have really no hope at all. Like, really no hope. Titanic would have faced probably the most amount of issues that she would have ever faced, because Titanic would have to worry about having to keep all these rooms dry, and these boiler rooms would have to be completely vented out, which would also cause issues for Titanic later on, because Titanic cannot have water coming into every single room at one time. It physically cannot have every single one of these rooms filled. If they left these doors open, Titanic would not be in a good situation. People say Titanic would have lasted longer. Titanic wouldn't have lasted longer. Guys, if Titanic lasted longer with these doors open, it would have quickly flooded each of these rooms down. And it would have continued like domino effect, pretty much. It would have just kind of continued throughout the entire ship. And each of the boiler rooms would have to be unlit, which means electricity would get lower and lower and lower. When electricity gets lower or the steam gets lower, the lights start getting dimmer and they're not able to produce as much electricity. It's almost like a power plant. A power plant is failing. Electricity is going out. The power plant can't just be like, okay, we need to put more power into it. No, the power plant has to get electricity. If it don't have electricity, it can't run. And in Titanic's case, as each of these boiler rooms were flooding, the power got weaker. And also what had to do with that was Titanic's, their lights weren't really designed for kind of like flooding into each of the actual lights, especially the ones we have today. But no, as water touched each light and entered and got through each light, I almost want to think that once it touched each light, that Titanic's light pretty much just shattered at that point. I honestly think that myself, because Titanic's lights, again, they were very hot and they were being matched with cold water. And the glass on these light bulbs are super thin. I believe they were used with glass, or they might have still been used with just very low plastic material. Or it doesn't matter. The thing is, my point is on that, the cold water is going to hit the glass on that light bulb, or whatever it is, and it's going to go boom. That light's going to shatter, and then that travels through Titanic's electricity grid. Each of these lights, like today, have a line that runs through the entire ship and goes to the actual power plant, or Titanic's engines, if I want to say it that way. And then that causes disruption on Titanic. Each of the switches would start falling or failing, and then the people that are in the Titanic's electricity room, or the power plant, the engine room, they would notice like each of these circuits are collapsing. They're and you don't want to turn them back on. You turn them back on. It's cool though, in a way, because even back then, Titanic's actual circuits worked the way they needed to. They would know that, okay, there's way too much water. They would shut the electricity off in that spot, because you can't have electricity going and hitting water. It's just going to bounce back forth and screw up the entire power area. I know I'm going a lot on electricity, but you guys got to understand, as Titanic was filling up with water and as the bow went completely underwater and it continued to move forward, the lights were not bright. You guys, they show Titanic's lights as being super bright, but they weren't. Titanic's lights and the power plant in Titanic, the electricity in Titanic was getting weaker. Just like the wireless system, when people were sending out SOS calls and CQDs and we need help, please get more ships here. We are actually sinking. Yes, the biggest and greatest luxurious ship is sinking. We need help. They were not kidding. The situation was dire. They needed help. And Titanic's power room, Titanic's engines were screaming. They were at their maximum capacity. They could not hold any longer. They couldn't hold any longer. I understand that. Maybe Titanic could have went longer. It might have not. But the thing with Titanic is, when they cannot hold longer, when the power cannot physically go any longer, it will have to eventually kind of collapse on itself. It's how electricity works. Water, electricity, they don't work well. But in this case, this became a system where, okay, maybe Titanic might work. Titanic lasted. This is my vast opinion. Again, I think Titanic lasted an hour longer because of these watertight doors. Even though they were not built properly and they should have went higher, I think it still stopped the water, and it also stopped each of the boiler rooms from having to be lit or have to be unlit each of the times. Because the longer you can keep the boiler rooms running, the lighter the lights stay. The lights will stay, they won't be as dim because the ship is still powering. They still have steam. The shorter the ship is going through, less steam. The engines have to do more work for themselves, and Titanic pretty much just cannot sustain itself. But that is on that part. There is much more I want to talk about that, but I think I'll go on in that for videos and stuff when I build this stuff, or maybe in future rooms we come back to the boiler room and kind of explore it. Because I have a really good feeling that Titanic Honor and Glory is going to release another thing for Titanic, another demo, a bigger demo. Excuse me. I think that that's what's going to happen, and I really do think that's going to be close to it, close to soon. If you guys want to download the game though, or explore this demo itself, you can do that in the description. I should have the game down there in the description. There's different ones. You just type in Titanic Honor and Glory as well, and that will probably pop up as well. But you can do that as well. But yeah, and by the way, these little doors here, you pretty much just pull up, and then you can shovel coal out and into the boiler rooms. And I believe, yeah, this side's lit. So yeah, this would kind of be like what it looks like inside it. But the entire top of the boiler is all water pretty much, apart from maybe the very top where the steam kind of had to fall out. It's a cool mechanism because water would have to come from Titanic's double bottom. So in Titanic's double bottom, there was water in there, and it would come up and into these boilers. And because Titanic had to use fresh water, they couldn't use salt water, because if it uses salt water, it would destroy these things, like destroy them. I'm not kidding about that. Because it can't create steam with salt water. If anything, it'd be taking the salt water out of it, and it'd be just coming regular water. But I don't know if that'd be exactly how it'd work. But yeah, these were hot, very hot, 120 degrees down here. This is how Titanic was so hot down here. It's because these things were left open. People were constantly shoveling these things. They didn't get a break. When Titanic was traveling at full speed, she had almost all of these on. I won't say all of them were on. I think there was a couple that were still off. And you guys got to understand that they were double-sided. So there's one side here. And why do they make this so impossible to get through here? I don't know. That's just how it is. There's another side here. So they can load both sides up at the same time. It wasn't just one side at a time. And there wasn't... yeah, there was more coal right here in between each of the bunkers. Each of the bunkers had coal, and it would have a bunch. Anyway, I would go farther, but I can't go any farther this way. We can still go through this room. This is boiler room number 5. So 5 was kind of Titanic's last hope. It really was. This was a boiler room where Titanic was very, very stretched to the limit. Its first 4 compartments were already filling up with water. It was not good. And guys, I want to make sure that you guys know this. The first compartment that Titanic got struck wasn't filling up with water. It didn't puncture it. The Titanic filled up with water in that section because where it hit that was actually a tank of water. It was like a fresh water. It was like a four tank, if you want to say it that way. It already had a little bit of water in it, and that was like a tank of water. And well, when Titanic hit the iceberg, it punctured that. So basically, it just filled the entire thing up there and then just stopped. So the first compartment, Titanic first compartment, did not sink. It had to make its way from 2 into 1, which was able to do that. Let me get a drink of water here because it's really starting to become a lot. When you're talking about history, I love talking about history. Preferably ocean liners. Yeah. So, continuing to make that way over. Alright. Which way? This way. Couldn't figure out the way to get through Titanic because it's just such a big ship. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys consider liking this live stream and maybe push the subscribe button because I have a lot more Titanic videos and live streams coming up and just a lot more content in general. This is a very interesting room in Titanic. I love this room because you're no longer in a boiler room. You're not in the boiler room of Titanic anymore. You're in a different kind of area. It's still hot. There was a watertight door here and a watertight door here, and well, it was kind of like a short room. You'd either climb this water or this entire ladder and you'd be up on Titanic's main deck, boat deck. This would go all the way up there. I can't climb it, unfortunately, because the game does not let me do it. I'm hoping that in the future the game lets me jump, because that would be kind of a cool thing. I can't jump. Otherwise you guys would see me jumping all around. But this is another cool thing. This is kind of like steam that you can shut off with these valves. And Titanic is complicated. Very complicated. If you guys haven't already told or have been warned about how complicated Titanic is. Because the machinery on Titanic was just absolutely insane and nothing we would do today. Definitely not this. This is a very weird... I don't even know how to describe this, guys. Basically, a pipe would run down through the entire here, and then it would just go into here, and then go over here. It's basic, but weird at the same time. I can't explain it any further than this, guys. Like, yeah, this machine is just... It's complicated. We'll leave it at that. Let's enter the next room. We'll come back a little bit to the boiler rooms in a second because I want to explain this part here. Titanic was flooding. It was sinking with water. They had a emergency going on. Titanic just had struck the iceberg. This pathway right here was Titanic's, I don't want to say main hope, but it was sure Titanic's safety net, if you want to say it that way. Way in the side, men will break step while in tunnel. Interesting wording there. Don't ask me exactly what that means, because I'd probably screw it up pretty good. But anyway, you get more of these valves, and a lot of piping will run through here as well. And I don't know if I would rather be 6 feet tall, because I'm assuming that you'd be touching the ceiling at this point and probably would hit your head on the light bulb, which you would probably burn your head off if you did that. I don't know if I would feel satisfied about that. Anyways, you would hit the end of this. Piping would continue to go up through the Titanic. That's the thing about Titanic that I like. There is so much piping and so much things that travel through Titanic that I like, that I personally enjoy, because it's different. It's not like any normal ship like you think of today. Today they try to hide most of this piping because who wants to see piping? The thing that I like about this stuff though is this is stuff that runs the ship. It could be steam, it could be water, it could be electricity, it could be much more than that. This is stuff that actually powered the ship, or worked in the ship in some sort of way. This wasn't just an ordinary thing. Anyway, shall we take the ladder up a little bit? Alright, so we're about a story into Titanic. This is one story. And so you guys have the boiler rooms. They were about 2 to 3 stories tall as well. They were big rooms in Titanic. The shaft itself would go up to probably about 3 stories, but the actual like boilers themselves were a little bit under 2 stories, but the entire boiler room was a 2-story actual building area. So that's one, and this would be the second kind of floor. So I don't know if you guys can look at this. Picture Titanic sinking right now. This would not be a delightful thing to be on. You could just see water flooding into this. But this itself, it saved Titanic. A lot of the people were able to get through this area and up these ladders to get out of this area, because you did not want to be in this area when Titanic was flooding. It was one of the first places to flood, and it was not a delightful spot. All right. And, well, now you see flooring of another section, which, again, is important as well, and very much a lot of spaces. But more cargo. Yay. Yay. More cargo. Exactly what we wanted to talk about. This is a lot more cargo, as you guys can already tell. But this actually was different, because this actually had access to Titanic's like cranes. Like cranes would be able to load the entire Titanic's packages and cargo in giant crates and stuff and throw them down here. And pretty much, I forgot that I can't jump. Sorry. This could be unbolted, and then it could continue to go down farther. They don't let me go down any farther than this for this part, but technically they should allow me to go farther. I think it's important. But you guys can see, there is just crates and barrels and crates and barrels, and we'll continue to go on saying crates and barrels forever because there is just so much down here. And then you would get a bunch of bags and trunks. Like, what is this exactly? Don't got a clue what that would be. Obviously, it's probably like an Easter egg kind of, because I don't think Titanic really had any like gold or coins or anything like that in a chest, as far as I know. I wouldn't be surprised though if they did have that, because there was some very rich people on Titanic. Very rich people. Yeah. And a lot of these would be strapped down or kind of like placed inside areas where they wouldn't fall super easy. But again, not this room in particular, but rooms lower down were the early stages of Titanic sinking. Titanic would hit the iceberg, and then these rooms would be flooded pretty fast, because there was nothing breaking these rooms apart. They weren't separated really well, because they were pretty long rooms. They were a little bit longer than the actual boiler rooms themselves, which made it interesting on that night the Titanic sunk. They had hung generators on the board, Frank in the system. There's steam driving. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. The generators were all over the place in Titanic. On the board, Frank and the steam driving, everything in Titanic was placed in Titanic for a reason, and they were placed in the area for a certain reason as well. 6 people watching, but there are only 2 likes. Like the stream, guys. I know you are enjoying it because so many people have stated, wow. Yeah. Thank you there so much there, Mike and Ike. You do my streams, I do your streams. I love how we work that out together, and even though it's not really in the system of how we work it. These metal pipes will actually be fairly easy for me to build in Lego, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of those, like, the tubing that Lego kind of makes, or similar to that, and I'm just going to, like, run tubing from that section, because as far as I know, that stops there. Oh, wait. Never mind. It doesn't stop there. It becomes actual... Wait. It's just a different color down here, which is interesting. So yeah, somehow I'll have to like make that look silver or chrome or whatever color, and then down here I'll have to make it bronze or gold looking, and then we just run down Titanic's stairwell for a second, back down here for a second. And these would be valves. I'm assuming this would be for steam and stuff, or water. That's what it mostly looks like, but I'm sure we can probably get a good tell on what it'd be for. Well, by going up Titanic. Because I don't think that'd be used for electricity because it's copper piping. At least that's what it looks like. So it'd kind of make no sense to put that in there. So guys, I'm kind of as clueless as you guys are on this. This is kind of cool though. Wait, if I can actually hit the stairwell really well. Nope, continues to go on. I'm actually really curious on what this kind of goes to. I know it's for something important, like probably some of the front end bow stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. Whoop, kind of got stuck there. Oh, it stops here. That's interesting. So yeah, okay, that's weird though. I wonder what that goes to. I'm actually really curious about that. How we go from, okay, they go here. I wonder if they run through the floor. Guys, we gotta do some more research. Maybe not you, but I do. That's gonna be some crazy work ahead for me. Anyway, that'll be work from a different day. Who cares about that work right now? Let's stick to things that I know, and not things that are super hard, that I seem to find really interesting when I do pick things that are beyond my knowledge on that stuff. Anyways, look at this flooring. This is so interesting because it's super small tiles. It's not like a giant, like 1 foot by 1 foot. This is like 1 or 2 inches by 1 or 2 inches. And yeah, not gonna be an easy thing in Titanic to build or make. Might have to use some sticker knowledge there. As much as people hate stickers, I think that might be kind of a cool thing to put in that place. So yeah, continuing down here, again, we've already hit the spot pretty neck and neck here. Even if we go continuing down, kind of like a roller coaster, make you guys really dizzy, if I really wanted to. No, that kind of leads me to my next thing here. And if I can actually get my chair to cooperate with me, we can actually discuss this. The next thing here that's very interesting, or that's fascinating, that will be that kind of runs throughout Titanic, are not just the beams itself, but again, not just these pipes, but they had pipes that were super thick, and yeah, they would run through the entire Titanic. But that's not the important thing that I'm really trying to get to on that case, because if you actually go up the stairs super duper fast, which this is like the fastest thing I can get up here. Guys, if you were running up these stairs constantly, you'd probably get pretty dizzy. Wouldn't be surprised. No, what's really interesting is they would put a sink here, or a faucet to hold water or to rinse off. This was due to be an interesting factor because if you look down here, they actually don't have that pipe go down here. It runs through the wall. I guess my point for that, guys, is a lot or majority of Titanic's piping. Sorry, my nose is just killing me right now. It runs from floor to floor and then finally just runs across Titanic when it can get an open floor, like the Scotland Road, when it can run through the entire Titanic to get to the actual like engines and all that. But it's interesting because they put this through the wall, and not a lot of rooms in Titanic had things that went through the actual walls when it came to plumbing and stuff, because this was like stuff that wasn't really fun to throw through and have fun. I don't know. it was a lot different back then. You could keep these in the open or out of the open, one of the two. But in Titanic's days, these were pretty much in the open. The piping and all that you could see, and that's what made Titanic in my opinion. I loved it. I love seeing pipes that run through the entire ship, and it's going to add more detail when we build the entire giant Lego Titanic, because who doesn't want to see a Lego Titanic? That's huge. But yeah, and actually, fun fact, it would run up this floor as well. Yeah, it helped out a lot. And it'd be in this floor as well. And I don't know if I can actually cooperate with this. Nope, it wouldn't go any higher than that, which is, I guess, really important. And another thing that's kind of fascinating, because here's the actual tank for it. I don't know if this is actual drinking water that you can use or just hand water that you can wash your hands with. It didn't really matter anyway. But this is an odd placement to put one of these, wouldn't you guys say? I would say it's not a delightful, I don't know. It's not a spot that I'd want to put one of those. If you guys don't already know what I'm talking about. Well, at this point, you probably guys already have told or have figured out what this is. It pumps water out, in a way. Kind of like the fire hydrant stuff we use, but there's no hoses and stuff to it either, which doesn't really make a lot of sense either for that case. I don't know. I don't know about that stuff. It just makes no sense. Some of Titanic's things don't make sense at all. But you can see them running through the entire ship. You need these things when you're gonna try to get the ship off fire. Obviously on a ship, fire is definitely not a delightful thing to have. What is up, Scott? Nice to see you here. Copper welcoming every single person in. Thank you for doing that, Copper, and Micah as well. Again, my nose is just killing me tonight. It always does that when I'm streaming. I don't know why. And, Copper, this would probably be more dedicated to you. If you really want to get to the front of the ship, the best way to do that is to go through here. Yeah, you could get pretty close. This is where the anchor and all that stuff would kind of run through. And Titanic's anchor, I believe, went 500 feet down in the water. I believe. I'm almost certain it went 500. Especially after seeing the entire rope that Titanic could fit. I think it's either 250 or 500. I know it's far down. It can go a long way down. I know that. And yeah, this is a beautiful machinery work, because it took a lot more than just these to actually kind of like cooperate with that. I know this isn't really deep down in Titanic, but if I can actually get through, maybe I can get through now. We might be stuck. I don't. I got back. Okay, there we go. There we go. No, basically, this kind of has to do with the engine room, and electrical work, and steam, and everything else. This is a huge part of Titanic as well. I can't believe that water couldn't splash into the porthole for the anchor. Well, the thing is it would drain back out. I'm not going back into that, but it could easily drain back out. And it didn't really matter, because most of these portholes that you guys already see, they're open, but they can be easily shut. And also you have to mind, this is far above the water, as you cannot already tell. Yes, that stuff would definitely be closed when Titanic was in rough water, but you can see that it is pretty high up already. This is, if you go up one more floor, you're going to be in Titanic's actual, Titanic's deck, which I can't access on that ladder, otherwise I'll fall all the way down. But, yeah, that's the cool part about that. And actually, nope, it's one of these decks. I know it's the other side then. You can get to Titanic's mast, as already mentioned in a different video, or live stream. They don't let me show this area down here, which is kind of interesting. This is my hope for the Titanic's. I don't want to visit that area because I've already visited that area in Titanic. My hope for Titanic Honor and Glory in the future. And I'll make a live stream probably dedicated to this stuff. And when they launch another one of these kind of similar demos that they've been working on really hard for. My hope to this case of Titanic is they complete the bow section. So that means this entire section that we're working with right now, not just this section and not just this section over here. I am talking about everything below this because I can't go any farther down than below this. They really don't let me go any deeper than this. There's more rooms under this, and while they do show you this room right here, what about all the stuff here? Give me more cargo room space. Also, this goes deeper. This isn't as deep as Titanic goes here, guys. Yeah, we can go down here, but guys, there's more cargo behind this wall here too. Behind this wall is a bunch of more cargo. Open that up for us. That's what my goal for, or not my goal. That's what I'm hoping that they can do next, because I'm building Titanic and Lego, and I need to know what this exactly looks like completely in order for me to actually start building Titanic completely. Because I am basing the entire Lego Titanic that I'm building off, one, their blueprints, which don't show you the color or the what exactly how that works, but two, it's exactly how this is laid out. All the colors and everything you pretty much see is exactly how Titanic was exactly how Titanic was so many years ago. And yeah, pretty much plain and simple from there. I'm just going to continue going down these stairs for a second, though, because I'm going to go back in the boilers and talk about something else. We already were in the boiler rooms, but there's more to talk about because that room is just... If there's one room in Titanic that you can talk a lot about, that'd be the room. By the way, there's also valves that pretty much go through the entire length of this Titanic area, along with all these metal pipes, which just don't stop. There's a bunch of them. And again, there's more hosing and things. I'm not quite sure what that middle one is there for. Yeah, research just never ends in this ship at all. It just continues to go forever and ever and ever. You keep saying it won't let you go any deeper. Is that because there is a premium version of this software that you have to pay for? Believe me, Copper, if there was a premium version of this, you can tell who would be buying it first. I am the biggest Titanic fan. I won't say the biggest, but I am a big Titanic fan. You would know if I would go any deeper. Agent Warrior, welcome to the stream. Dang bro is blonde. I expose your face to God's army. Just kidding. How are you doing there, Agent Warrior? I'm assuming if you are in the stream, you're a Titanic fan like I am. And maybe you're not. Maybe you're just another fan of Lego or something like that. Yeah, I pretty much am going to be making the entire Titanic out of Lego. Big Titanic, not like the one that they have. But yeah, interested in hearing what you want to say. Is there a spot in Titanic that you like or kind of want me to show you around in this? Because I know a lot of people don't have access to making this. This game it doesn't cost you anything. What hurts is the gigabytes. This game is 50 gigabytes. It took me 3 hours to download this game. It takes a long time to download this game. Yeah, it does not. It's not one of those games where you can just say, okay, I'm going to download a game and it's going to take 5 minutes. No, this takes a long time to download. I'm glad, though, that YouTube is kind of showing people that there is more potential in the community. Now, I just saw you streaming instead of joining the Bible study. Oh. Well, you know I am now. Thanks for joining, though. Well, anyway, continuing down this section, there was more that I wanted to talk about in Titanic. And, oh, thank you, Agent Warrior. I appreciate it so much. Yeah. If you don't know, I'm a ship fan. I'm also a Lego fan. And, yeah, combine that together, you get one giant mess, if I want to say. But, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for subscribing. Yeah, really means a lot. But let's get into some more interesting spots in Titanic. And this part I'm not going to be able to really talk a whole lot because these stairs don't like to cooperate with me, for one. And nor does my nose. But no, the gauges on these actual boilers themselves are huge. Like, this is the gauge, and this is going to tell you like the temperature and everything in the actual boiler room. Well, not really the boiler room, but the actual boiler itself, kind of. And the plumbing system that they used back then isn't really much different than today. You can see that there's valves, and they continue to go through the entire Titanic, and you crank them to turn the water off or to turn the steam off. Yeah, pretty much everything. Take me to the bridge. Yeah, well, you know, Scott, you can't run the ship without having to know the knowledge of the ship. Gotta have that point. As I mentioned before, guys, these pillars are huge. It's like hugging a tree. It is huge. It's like, I can't even describe how huge these things are. They are heavy. They are built like a giant indestructible beam or tower, if I want to say that. They are heavy, and they did a very good job at keeping Titanic's floors from, one, collapsing. They also kept a very good job at just keeping the Titanic from connecting from each section. They are heavy, and I'm not sure if there's things that run through the entire beams too, or if it's just completely hollow. I know a lot of Titanic's beams and woodwork, you guys would be very surprised, they do have a lot of like things running through them. I know some beams have like electrical going through it as well. It's crazy. Sorry, but Scotty has to say in the engine room. Yeah, you know, Scott, you have to work very hard to get up to the bridge. You have to work in 140 degree weather or 120 degree weather. Then you might get promoted. That's if you do your job right, though. Anyway, you guys saw that giant temperature steam gauge, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it runs the entire way up here and then kind of just goes in. This is to like pressurize the steam. It like tells you kind of what the steam's at. I know some of them tell you the temperature. It's complicated. And I know like in the comments people will bash me and say that wasn't right or something. Guys, bottom down, this is exactly I'm not perfect at Titanic, by no means. I really am not perfect. Believe me, if I was perfect, you guys would know probably day one if I was perfect. And I'm not. I'm not going to say I am either. My point on this case, though, is the knowledge I have in Titanic can only go so far. I am still learning about Titanic every day. If you want to know someone that knows a lot about Titanic, go to Ocean Liner Designs. or Mike Brady, which is the person that owns Ocean Liner Designs. You have Titanic Honor and Glory, which have made this entire ship possible. There is much more people that know a lot more about Titanic than I do. My goal for this, though, is to make the past ocean liners a thing again. Period. That's my goal for not just this YouTube channel, not just the people that come into my channel that just first start watching. My goal is to recreate Titanic, Olympic, Britannic, Celtic, the Queen Mary. All of these ships that aren't important anymore, that people have forgotten about. People think of them as a tragedy, or they think of just many other things. These are beautiful ships that will never be made again. One, because safety on these things are a lot different than today. I can show you a lot of issues with safety things that are not up to code today on Titanic. Hazardness issues as well. I would say the health on these ships are not good anymore either. But bottom line, these are what ran America, what ran Britain, what ran Germany. These and several other countries too. These are wonderful, beautiful ships that went through enormous amount of time to build and to take away. And it does not let me get any farther than this. But this is a cool section. It's pretty much the top of Titanic's boilers, which are insane itself. There's valve in the top to let steam go through and stuff. Guys, again, this is way beyond my brain here. I'm not super in... I love steam and I love the way it works and the power it has. I don't have enough knowledge on it. That's my thing. I don't have a lot of knowledge on this stuff to get you any farther than I am going to get you right now. I do know, though, that the steam itself was able to take Titanic up to 24 knots. That is very fast for a ship her size. Or 24 knots. It's like 22 miles per hour. Roughly. It was fast. But I know her top speed was about 22, 24. If she had all of her boilers working and was going pretty much full speed. And using her most amount of power she could use. Titanic was not a slow ship. Everyone thinks of her as a big, heavy, bulky ship. She was more than just that. No one is about the best Lego owner. Or not Zoner Designs. Yeah, haha. I'm actually... Anyone that does, they can go for it. Because I don't know everything about Titanic. I don't know everything about Lego. I'm learning day by day. And I hope that when I get Titanic built completely in Lego, that it's just the first ship that I build. I want to know what ships you guys want to be built. Like, what ships that would be even cooler to build. Because it's just a start. It's history. Again, ships that will never be built ever again. And it's kind of sad to say that. But it's true. You'll never see these ships ever built again. Because they don't hold the values that we hold today. Cruise ships are now the thing of today. When people want to take across the ocean, they don't care about speed anymore. No one cares about that. People care about cruises these days. And my thing on them, I'm not a fan of cruise ships. I think they're ugly. I think they're fat. And I think they are one of the worst things that we have designed in this new century, if I want to say that. I have never liked the design of these newer cruise ships. They're just so huge and ugly. But we can cover that ugliness up with a ship that is so beautiful. Maybe not this room, but other rooms that are far better than this room. But I can't go farther, and I might be rambling on about some so actually, you know, fun fact. Alright, I guess my stream kind of crashed there. I don't know what you guys heard there. My internet does not seem like cooperating with me right now. Anyway. I think I've pretty much bare limit the entire internet system here. Maybe. We're getting a little choppy here, guys. Titanic. The internet system is going out in Titanic. I'm just kidding, guys. Titanic. Uh-oh. Ooh. Maybe. I think we're back here. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, we're gonna crash again today. Okay, my internet's all over the place now, guys. It is. But I ain't gonna let internet stop me. What's up, Sam? Welcome to the stream. Gotta go call with my members. You have a great rest of your streams, owner. Hey, thanks so much there, Micah. Thanks so much. Yeah. Slow ahead while we clear the docking station. Well, actually, thanks for saying that, Copper. So Titanic never did bring the entire the steam Titanic used in dock wasn't really used. They didn't really use a lot of steam in Titanic's docks. Titanic was pretty much tugged out by tugboats. So they would use tugboats to pretty much just bully Titanic, if I want to say. Like, legit. They would almost bully Titanic. They would, like, pound on the side of Titanic and push her out in the sea. And with how big Titanic was, it took a lot of Titanic power to, one, get Titanic out of the actual area, and two, to get Titanic's tugboats to kind of guide her out. It was no easy task to move Titanic. Well, Titanic had internet. She would have tweeted that she started sinking. Oh yeah, Copper. Titanic totally had internet. Just, you know, no one knows about it. Sarcastically. I keep falling from the ladder because they don't make safety. This is what I'm talking about, guys. If Titanic had important safety things, we wouldn't be falling from a ladder that high. Titanic needs to do a little bit better in the safety standards there. Anyway. Carrying on more. This is a very interesting machine, guys. If you guys don't know what this is. This is just telling you kind of like the firing furnaces and all of that. But not really. Because on the other side of that, you would think it just says fire furnace number 2. Nope. This is their signs. We're either going to be stopped. Don't put anything in the actual boilers. Nothing. They don't want anything in there. Slow, they're just putting a little bit at a time. They're not putting too much in. Just enough to kind of keep the boilers moving, but not too much. Half is when you have boilers starting to get moving. You're going to have a lot of people at their station starting to get Titanic, up to speed. And last but not least is full. When Titanic is at full speed, you have pretty much everyone, other than my nose, who wants to cooperate with me, at full speed pretty much. Everyone is shoveling coal in here. They are working 4 hours of just pretty much non-stop coal. And it does not get any better than that. Guys, shoveling coal is not a fun thing. It's heavy. And yeah, plain and simple there. Heavy things, people working real hard. It's interesting. Where were the photon torpedoes or proton torpedoes though? Yeah, Sure. Titanic totally did have those. Titanic would have probably been another warship or another like troop carrier or hospital ship during World War One. And yeah, my nose just cannot stop quitting me. If she survived, she would have. That's what would have happened. Yep, but unfortunately, she did not survive. Technically, by technically, I mean she's still around. She's just at the bottom of the ocean. So if you want to say that she's around, she technically, is, just not in a spot that you probably want to be on her. All right. Can I get through here, or does it not let me go through here? Okay. Let me through. That does not... I don't like that. Whoever designed that giant beam that goes there, that's like a hazard zone as well. You're just gonna like fall right into that. Anyway. Up the ladder. And up the ladder again. And then up again. This is an interesting spot, guys. Not really even I thought of this. I don't really think of this spot a lot, too. Yeah, oops. You pretty much get to walk around the entire boilers. Make sure everything's correctly operating. Yeah, and you'd go down here again. You could see stations down here, make sure people were working. This was actually very useful during the sinking, though, because people can look down and see how far water has gotten up. Yeah, it was an interesting thing in Titanic, and it played a vital role. You have a lot more steam items. This would be running through the entire Titanic. Up these walls, which you can see pretty far up there. It goes up there pretty far. Same thing on this side. These would pretty much go up the entire length up there. They're connected to these giant, it's almost like water heaters in a way. They're fat and they're huge, but they're not really water heaters. Like you guys are probably thinking right now. But they took a lot of weight and they had to be bolted in really good. So, yeah. And yeah, so this is pretty much what that was. You could see Titanic pretty much from a far up distance, which is really cool, actually. I'm not going to lie on that one. It kind of looked like you're looking down on a city right now, which makes it cool. But you also can see steam. If you guys can't see, look down there very closely, and you can kind of see steam just like floating out of the like fire, like the coal bunker area, like the full... Not coal bunker area. You don't want steam coming out of that. No, out of the furnaces, the actual like boilers, you can kind of see some of that. Anyways, same thing on this side. You just can't see as much. Again, during Titanic's early stages of sinking, these rooms would be pretty much lit as bright as it can get. It didn't really start power constraining anything until after, I would say, D-Deck. That's when it really started power constraining things. That's when lights just started flickering or failing or just a bunch of other things. Alright, so now we're super high up. I cannot go... Oh, wait, no, I can. Oh. Wait a second. What in the heck is this? Oh my gosh, guys. Not gonna lie. Did not know that this even existed. Oh. I mean, I knew it existed in person, I knew, but I didn't think they made this in the game yet. Okay. Well, a little bit more history lessons here for you guys. So you go... Oh, this is boiler number 5, by the way, guys. So in boiler number 5, you just go up the ladder. Pretty much like that. I can't go any farther, but this is the first smokestack. Guys, this is pretty cool. Not gonna lie. This is really cool. Oh, wait a second. They are... No way. Guys, this is insane. Okay. Guys, a spot in Titanic that I did not know they even made. I knew that this was made again in real life, but I was not aware that they put this in the game. This is insane. Guys, this is like a new section in Titanic that is so important, because this is going to help me build this Lego Titanic that I've been waiting to do for a long time. But even canceling that out for a second, this is the first smokestack. So if you look out here, the first smokestack is right above this. And guys, these smokestacks are heavy as heck. They are very heavy, and they would take a lot of steam to run out of these. But as you can tell, this is a huge thing in Titanic. Like it dedicated its own self for a room. Like this could be easily a separate room in Titanic, but nope, it's a entire smokestack. In a way, does it allow me to go up this way? Nope. But who cares about that? Because guys, we are getting into some insane stuff here. Like really cool stuff. So basically, Titanic would run down here, and I'm actually really curious on where this runs, because oh wait, does this run in the 4? Guys, this is getting insane. Oh my gosh. Oh. Is this 4? I could be wrong, guys. But I wonder if this is boiler room number 4. Oh. Didn't really get that far. Never mind. My calculations were totally off there. That was boiler number 2, I believe. Yeah. So this was... Nope. This was boiler number 6. But it let me go that far up. That is insane, guys. That was really cool, though. I'm going to continue going on about that, though, too. That was an entirely different section that I was not aware that Titanic even had. For this purpose, at least. I know Titanic's big, but I did not know that Titanic had that in this game. This game's cool, but that's even cooler. How did I not know that existed, guys? Mamma mia. Hey, what's up, Mr. Random? How are you doing today? Hope your day is going well. Guys, imagine Titanic's funnels being black. Like, not the golden color that we see Titanic's actual color, but look at, like, Titanic it looks so much different. Black smokestacks with black steam coming out of it, with just, I don't know how to describe this. That'd be insane. Like, really interesting thing. Anyway, and you guys can see the amount of force and the amount of equipment that it took to even keep these smokestacks into place. They weren't an easy thing to keep into place. They had to be like bolted in, especially as you can see right here if you look up. These little like thin pieces of metal or steel. My nose itches again. As you guys can again tell, it's super thin, but it does its job. each of these kind of just board brace it against Titanic and keep Titanic from, or Titanic's funnels from kind of like pushing away from each other. It's insane. Like, really, I did not know that they put that into this game. Learn something new every day, guys. And it's also fascinating that they don't let you go up this actual ladder, which is interesting. But yet they put lights. These must have been waterproof lights in a way. Yes, owner designs. Answer Scott where the transporter room is. Hey, Scott. Are you talking about the wireless room? Or like, what are you talking about there? I'm thinking you're talking about the wireless room, basically where they sent transmissions from the ship to other ships or to like a ton of other things. I'm really curious about what you meant by that. I'm still kind of freaking out myself, guys, right now. Not expecting that the game actually put these in, because when I toured this section last time, they didn't have this section in. This wasn't part of the section that they included. So the fact that they have it right now, which is just crazy in itself, but I wish they would let you go on the other side of this. Guys, I'm just kind of speechless on this. This is crazy. And I don't even want to know what the temperature of this would be like. Like, are you touching a hot furnace or what? I'm curious. Because I wonder if that's going to be hot metal or if it's going to be cooler. Because it's just steam running through it. So I can't imagine it being super hot. But also, it is coming from the boiler room, so you could see a lot of that heat trying to go through there. So and so, I could be really, I don't know. I'm interested in that one. That in itself is like just really cool. And so are these giant lights, or not these lights, like giant ones, but the lights from up above, even cooler. Let's put it that way. And yeah. Well, Scott, are you talking about the actual like wireless room? Because I'm not getting any chat from you yet. Got to know what room I'm going to. If I don't know what room I'm going to, I can't get you to that room. Anyway, I already showed you guys the boiler rooms. It is huge. They are massive. They are over 2 stories tall. They have a whole bunch of stuff in there. And I learned today that they actually put this was in the game. This was, last time I checked at least, this wasn't part of it unless I just checked the wrong section. And the furnace, or the smokestack 1 in between it. Didn't know that they included that as well. This is why I love Titanic Honor and Glory, because there's things in Titanic that you still don't know even was made by them. I did not know that was made by that. Interesting thing that Titanic even had. Yeah. Anyway, now I know it exists, and it makes Titanic even cooler. So yeah, let's just go through this room and then back down this one. Because this should be Titanic boiler room number 6. Which should technically lead me back into Scotland Road, which this is Titanic's engine room, if you guys didn't know. Oh, Scott, I'll take you there. I'll take you to the wireless room. Even though we are diving deep into Titanic, we can take you there. Don't worry, I'll take you there. Oh, wait. Now we're going back into the boiler rooms. Who said that there was anything wrong with that? I don't want back in here. Get me out of here. Guys, look how cool this is, though. This is like Titanic's meals. On apples, you get biscuits. Let's see what's for menu here. April 4th. Oh. Womp womp womp. Didn't get far. Okay, we're going way too far down. I'm showing you guys Titanic and I can't even get down to the right aisle. No! We just went back in the boiler room. Guys! Did they delete my door from me now too or what? No! Oh my gosh. I just went through this room. Or this boiler room. We were having multiple difficulties trying to get through Titanic, I guess. It's pretty ashamed. It's gotta be here somewhere. Isn't this one it? No, it's a drying room. There we go. How hard is it to get to Titanic's actual room? Its actual decks? Apparently, in my opinion, it took me 5 times to actually get through this because I had to go through so many different boiler rooms in order to even get to this point. Gotta love it. Titanic, this is why I'm so fascinated with it. There's all these rooms that you just aren't aware of. By the way, 9 people. Wow, that's a lot of people in here at one time right now. Thank you for being here. Consider liking this live stream if you enjoy Titanic content or Lego content. Right behind me, you guys can't see it right now, but there is a massive Lego Titanic being built right now. And the internet also is taking, or the game is taking forever to transport me from one section to another, I guess. Although it is getting me to a bigger room. Yeah, so I can't deny this bigger section in Titanic though, because it's important too. There we go. All right. Let's get over there now. I will take you to the room of your dreams there, Scott. The room you asked for, I will give you. Alright, so. Wait. You gotta go up one more deck, guys. You gotta help me out here. You gotta help me out. I can't seem to figure out exactly where things are. I'm just kidding. I know where things are. So, first off, that's the actual generators to run the entire elevators, which is cool in itself. But, hey, Scott, are you talking about this room right here? Which is exactly the room I'm going to right now. But this is the wireless room. So yeah, this is a very interesting room. By interesting, you can already tell how cool this electricity and technology is in this room. It's insane. My only issue with this game is it takes forever to transport you from one room to the other room, or one section of the ship to the next section. Yeah. It's taking forever. I have no patience to get from one section to the next, I guess. Oh my gosh, guys. Let's just play the Jeopardy song. Do. I'm just kidding, guys. We won't play that. Okay, we are here. Alright, so in here. Aha! I don't even have to. No, I just got to it. And yes, we are still diving deeper into Titanic's lower rooms, but I just had to show someone this. This copper, by the way, anything that you send to actual ships and rooms, ships or land or anything like that, would be done in this area right here. So, wireless singles, the entire night Titanic was sinking. This was probably one of the most important rooms in Titanic. Without this room in Titanic, no one would know Titanic was sinking. And there should be a box. I thought there was a box out here that would pretty much, they would use constantly. I don't know where that would be. I thought there was. Unless it was over here. Oh, it was right here. This is hazard zone, guys. This caused boomy. When water touched this section, boom. This is like a bomb going off right here. Yeah, you definitely didn't want to be in this right here. And I don't even know if that... Yeah. I'm not kidding about this, guys. You think I'm kind of joking. This is like a walking bomb. When water touched this section, it blew. Everything in this room was destroyed. And then you have their little cabin in there as well. Copper, I'll go over this a different day. Just because that's not really our focus, but they do get a skylight. That's very important. And they also get to see all this steam coming out too. Delightful. But, again, we're not focused on that. So I'm going to head back over to the lower floors. Oh, I love this room. This is a nice scene, guys. This is why I like Titanic, guys. This is why I continue to be fascinated with Titanic, because this is crazy. How am I going to build this in Lego? That's my question. Hailing frequencies. Open. Oh my gosh, Copper. I don't know how I'm going to... Or Scott. This is going to be a difficult room to build, though. Not just with how the room is laid out. It's just the carpet and the lighting, the stained glass, the wood like columns, the beams, and the pillars. This is going to be crazy, guys. And you no wonder why I'm fascinated with Titanic the most. This is just absolutely crazy. I have still fascinated to this day. As well as water. Make sure you guys are hydrated, because you got to be hydrated on the Titanic. Oh, we're back into the next area. Exactly where I want to be. Alright. Let's take our tour back down to where we were actually supposed to be streaming in the first place. I'm just kidding with you, Copper. We're fine. And Scott. Making a huss out of the situation that we were in. Wait, I forgot that one down still. Guys, I'm still exploring this ship. It's just insane on how much things are in this ship. I could be here for 10 hours straight and talk about Titanic. Because that's how wonderful Titanic is. I do have to address one more thing though. Because I really screwed this up in last stream and someone really got on top of me for it. So let me like rephrase exactly kind of how they said it. Because we gotta make sure everyone knows what's going on here. Alright, so last stream, I opened last stream up and we talked about the Turkish bath and all of that. We also talked about, oh wait, glitched out on me. Just 1 second. This game is just so big that my computer just can't keep up with it. There we go. We also talked about Titanic's pool, which is very fascinating in itself, but I screwed up last stream. I really did, and I will admit it. This is the electric bath. Would I want to take an electric bath in this thing? I don't know if I want to trust that, but that's what this is. It is the electric bath for Titanic, and I don't really know how it works in itself, but it's there. And then the next thing is, these are not shower rooms, although I will classify them, because I guess Titanic's pool already had its shower rooms, So that really wasn't, these really aren't the showers. These are shampoo rooms. So you would shampoo all yourself down and all that stuff, and pretty much do that. And you'd have another one here as well. Don't ask me exactly how that worked, especially with how they have the design on this ship. This is crazy. I don't know. I really don't know, guys, on that one. Anyway, but no, this is a spot where people enjoy. No, basically, if you like, can't think of what it's called now. See, now he's gonna get back on me for this. I'm just kidding. No, basically this is like hot. This is where you pretty much take your what is it called? Man, I'm really having to think, guys, now. I'm really thinking here. Spawna. I'm screwing that name up really bad right now. But you probably already at this point can tell. And I'm surprised they have office door kind of style here. Very weird for a ship like this to even have that. But yeah. And these would be more private room for that, for this like extension over here. But yeah, this was a beautiful spot in Titanic. It is not the Turkish baths continuing on. This is a totally different spot of Titanic. While I think this spot is like, it's like the newer version of Titanic. Or in today's world. Because if you built this in today's world, it kind of would look similar to this. You guys wouldn't really be able to tell if this was on Titanic or not. Meanwhile, if you were to go into the Turkish bath, this room is just fancy. Like, guys, the ceiling is not a normal ceiling. At all. But anyway, I just wanted to address that this was the electric bath. But I still wouldn't trust in the first place. My opinion. And this is the shampoo rooms. You would shampoo pretty much. I don't know really if you know if you'd go over here and take your electric bath then after that or what. But you would shower here then, technically. For the pool, you would shower in here. See? I'm not perfect either. But always room for improvement. Anyway, there's another closet here as well for that, and along with the temperature, the gauge to tell you how hot it is in this room. But yeah, you'd want it hot in this room even if you were going to do it. Anyways, I will say this. I am going to end the stream here. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. I really do. We made 250 subscribers last stream. It was incredible. And I'm looking forward to just seeing more growth on this channel. And not just growth. I'm looking forward to doing more content on my Titanic over there. Again, you guys cannot see it because I don't want to spoil it. I want it to be in the next video. But I will hopefully be cruising on that video trying to get it done. On top of that, if you guys are just interested in me building this Lego Titanic and showing you guys the entire Titanic in person, well, okay, correction, not in person, in the game, because if it was in person, that'd be even cooler. Let's be honest. But my point is, guys, Titanic, and not just Titanic, my goal in the Lego community, in the ship community, the ocean liner preferably, is to create ships that can once again be reborn. Maybe not in person, the great size that they were in real life. But I can at least take the time, the passion, and not just Titanic, guys. I really want to say that. Titanic is a great ship. It is one of the most famous ships, and they're creating Titanic right here, as you see. But I want to create more than just Titanic. Ships like the Celtic, the Big Four. The Big Four were created before Titanic. They were the largest White Star Line ships before Titanic. I would love to create one of theirs, or one of them. Even ships that we go back into the sailing area, the era of where sailing were a thing, where steam wasn't even invented, where you would have sailing ships with wooden and sail ships, pretty much. That's my point. I don't want to get into warships or anything like that. Maybe I might. But my goal is to recreate ocean liners back into this world. Because I think that ocean liners deserve just as much credit as a cruise ship does as well. We've gotten to the society where cruise ships are everything. And, well, ocean liners are a thing of the past. And I keep mentioning it. It is. There is only one ocean liner in the world that is left. And I believe that is Queen Elizabeth. Or Mary II. One of the two. Or Queen Elizabeth II. It's something like that. But I know there's only one left. Apart from that, there is no more ocean liners that exist in the world. Maybe in the future they might bring it back. But right now, cruise ships dominate the seas now. And in the future, maybe something else will come out around. But still doesn't mean that a ship like this will ever be replaced. Titanic will still be the ship of dreams, the ship of luxurious voyage, and the ship that will probably still remain as the most popular ship ever in history. That's it. Thank you all for watching. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Appreciate it again. And again, have a wonderful rest of your night, Copper and Scott, because you're the only two people that I know that are in here. And farewell. Maybe. There we go.